resolve any issue that comes up in your life, with others. And what would it mean to you if you were able to do that so effectively that you could grow your business, grow your relationships, and be consistently effective? And if you were able to do that, would you want to know the steps of doing those issue resolutions that always come up in life? Well, Toastmasters, Gwen, and Toastmaster. Let me take you back to Dallas, where I was there with 50 other people, and we went through issue resolution of different areas. So we had one that the president of his company had an issue with what to do with a key employee that had been with him for a long time. Had been with him since actually when he started the business. And what happened is he had paid her consistently more and more money. So much so that she was making over 6 figures, which that sounds reasonable for somebody that is a high-level employee. But said she's really functioning as a secretary. And what he did, Laura, is he hired a CFO who was also making the same amount of 6 figures. Now the CFO is going to look at all the numbers, and he said to himself, well, he's going to wonder, why is he making the same amount as an assistant? Where's the disconnect? And so, of course, you can imagine within an organization, salaries and monies become conflict, become an issue that needs to be resolved. And so he wondered what to do. What should we do? What should he do? Should he fire the assistant? Well, he didn't want to do that because he really liked her, but she was making twice as much as she's really worth in the business, from a business standpoint. So this is a business issue. So what would it mean to him to be able to resolve it? And that's the situation that he came up with, is trying to figure that out with a group. And so if you think about it as a group, we want to look at how to resolve this. And there's really 7 steps to being able to do that. Steps that I go into a little bit more detail. And it's the steps of the person that has the issue, starting off with a question, how do I X? How do I keep this assistant that I want to, yet not pay her as much? And how do I go about keeping harmony in the organization and the company? How do I is a very key phrase to start with. And so the questions for him is, how important is this to you? And then, what have you done so far? And what would you like us as a group to help you with on this? And so that's the first step, the how do I. And the second step is to be able to look at this and really go into a little bit deeper with really looking at what the situation is. Most of the time we're by ourselves, trying to figure out how to resolve a particular situation or issue. And you may not be alone, but certainly the business owners and presidents are alone because they can't go to anybody else if they have a challenge like that. So it's important to be able to come together in a group environment and get some input, peer input. And so as peers in this group, you could ask clarifying questions. What are the questions? And the questions are start off with 2 key phrases. How did you do that? Or what would that mean? How and what? Not the whys, not any other one, but the how and the what. Because what we want to do is elicit the behavior that he's done so far so that we can clarify this. We want to be able to be in a position that we understand this a lot better from his standpoint in a group environment. So the questions are asked, and that way we can start to itemize it on a board as to what he or she has done so far in the group environment. That's the second step, is being able to clarify with asking questions. And of course, then we want to also look at, after that has been stated, is being able to restate the issue. Maybe the issue is not what was stated before, because his issue at the beginning is, how do I keep my assistant and yet pay half as much as what I'm paying now? And that how could be clarified a little bit more if they want to, because that might not be the issue. The issue that he started to restate is, how do I pay her the same, keep harmony in the organization, and still boost up the value of the company? And I'll share with you what he did later on. So he restated his issue that he had. And so he did it by, how do I, restating that phrase, which brings a lot more clarity to what he had. That's the process that we're going into with that fourth step. So first of all, we started with a how do I, some questions to make sure it's important. Then we ask some clarifying questions. We look at the issues that are on the table and pick one, and then restate the how do I if I need to. So the number 5 is, now we get a chance to make suggestions. So in that group, we started to make suggestions. So the suggestion was, well, in this situation, why don't you just keep her at what you're at now, because she was one of the founding members, and if she had been a partner, certainly she would be making 6 figures or more, and certainly he is, or as the organization grew. Other suggestions were, did you look at the contract? What contract do you have in place? Maybe that was a particular aspect. So look at what agreement, verbal or written, had been in place. Another suggestion was, perhaps keep it the way it is, but look at further future agreements so that there's a base salary for different roles. So the secretary maybe makes this much money, a CFO makes this amount of money. So start having some sort of standards for what they should have and be paid for. So those are the suggestions that comes up in an organization so that we can start writing them down. And those suggestions are based on experience, much like we have here at the round table, experience that we have in our business, or as speakers as we have it here, or things that we can share with a person so that they get advantage of knowledge that others have gone through. Very important in a group environment like this. And so we have that as the 5th step. The 6th step is being able to really look at taking some action. So the person that had the issue had clarified it, had received suggestions, and now he can pick and choose the action that needs to be taken. And by when? Because certainly an action without any date really means no action or inaction. So he said, what I'm going to do by this date is I'm going to cut her salary, well, from a business standpoint. But from a personal standpoint, out of his own money, he was going to pay her additional money. So now he satisfied what needed to be done from a business standpoint and was able to supplement additional revenues for her from his personal monies. And so that fit for him. And he was able to come up with a solution based on what he was struggling before, but based on the peer suggestions of what could be done. And he accepted that. So the action was taken, he gave it a date, and so now he was able to commit to others in the group. Commit the accountability that in a peer environment, that action's going to be taken by this date, and the next time when the group gets together, there's an accountability. Did you do this or not do this? Because some tasks may be very challenging to implement and execute, not given enough time. But it's that accountability from a group environment that really allows us to take action. So that's the sixth one, taking an action. And here's the magic of this. The magic is this, that we're all able to participate and get some value from having this experience. Because as you see, and as you noticed before, when we went in a round table, when a recommendation was made for Orestes, it really gave us an opportunity to learn from that experience. Because we're thinking, well, I would take this action, or I continuously learn from that. So not only does the one person benefit tremendously, but we all do in a group environment. And that's the key to the seventh area, is that we're in this together, we're peers, we're learning continuously, and that's our magical seventh step. So to recap, let's go through this. We're looking at, the person has an issue, you start off with, how do I? And then we ask, how important is that? Because we certainly want to make sure it's important. How important is this to you? What have you done so far? And what is that you want from all of us? What do you need from us to contribute to? So that's the first step. The second is be able to have some clarifying questions, a little deeper with how and what. And then is being able to look at the suggestions, or based on the questions, to really restate the issue with the how do. That's the fourth step. The fifth step is to really look at suggestions from the group. The sixth step is to take action with time, and an accountability to make sure that it does happen. And the magical seven is that we all benefit. We're all in this together. When we help one person, we all benefit, we all grow. So I invite you to also consider this for yourself. What value did you get from this? From the 7 steps of issue resolution? Is it something that you can take forward in a group environment with your family, your friends, your coworkers, your business associates, or even here in our next step, Toastmasters? I challenge you to take this value forward. It's 7 easy steps. They go in succession, it's a proven formula, and it gets you results. So, with that, I want you to hold me accountable as well, to make sure that I hold you accountable. Madam Toastmaster.